We have a big update on the Freddie Gray story yet again. So first we go to the good news. The good news is that charges have been filed. Charges have been filed against all 6 of the officers involved, and the charges range across the board here. There are many charges, including manslaughter and murder. So this is a rare instance where they're actually trying to do the right thing and trying to crack down. Oftentimes we see cases where you have similar facts. Some unarmed kid gets killed by a police officer, and then there's no indictment, there's no charges, there's not even an effort, and they're just like, well, no, nothing wrong happened here at all. So at least in this case, we have taken the first step of many steps to come. Hold your celebration, because we don't know how this is going to end, so don't get all excited yet and say, oh, we got him. But nonetheless, that is a step in the right direction. But we also have some pretty bad news today. So on the bad news front, the person who recorded the situation with Freddie Gray, this guy was arrested at gunpoint. He was arrested for, quote, making a wrong turn. I didn't even know that was something you could get arrested for. Now, he's been released. But the idea was, and he voiced this himself on various social media outlets, they were looking for him, and he thought they were looking for him so that they could try to cover their asses and cover their tracks and get the story, right? So that is questionable. I mean, the cops, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Let's bring in this guy who recorded it and arrest him. And do you not even realize just the optics of that, how horrible the optics of that are? Like, you don't realize, you already appear to be insanely corrupt with your actions and backwards and your history of abuse there in the police department. But you're going to say, the guy who recorded it, I'm going to arrest this person. On unrelated things. He made a wrong turn or a bad turn. The fuck is this? They act like the mafia, right? It's, where this also happened? This happened with Eric Garner in New York, where they arrested the other guy on totally unrelated charges. No. Yes, we know that this is the guy that recorded it, and it clearly showed that Eric Garner was choked out when he did nothing wrong. He was selling untaxed cigarettes. I guess you get the death penalty for that on the spot. And it just so happened, oh, no, unrelated charges, drugs, a gun, something, whatever. He's in jail. You would think they would at least be smart enough to, later on down the road, even if they arrest the guy, use prosecutorial discretion and say, just the optics of this are so bad that whatever. If you had some marijuana, you just get the fuck out of here. But no, they can't help themselves. So that's part one of the bad news. Now, here's the part that's even crazier. According to documents obtained by the Associated Press, quote, one of the police officers involved in the arrest and death of 25-year-old Freddie Gray was once reportedly hospitalized over mental health issues, and his guns were confiscated by higher-ups. Well, that's nice. Lieutenant Brian Rice made some kind of unclear threat that got his colleagues concerned about him back in 2012. Rice ended up in the hospital, and sheriff's deputies took his multiple firearms. He had also received 2 administrative suspensions, at least one of which was directly connected to the report on that incident. And when the AP visited Rice's home last week and left a note requesting an interview, Rice called the sheriff's department to report the visit as trespassing. Whoa. So here's why this is really alarming to me. Even if there was like somebody misbehaving, let's say, or a little off their rocker that was part of a police department, rarely, if ever, do they get any kind of disciplinary action, or do they get hospitalized over the mental health issues, or do they get their guns confiscated? We all know how much the cops get away with, especially if you're part of that inner circle. They protect you, and they look out for you, and you can get away with essentially anything you fucking want to. But this guy was so off his fucking rocker that they were like, take his weapons, get this guy to a mental health institution, and, let's try to limit the damage here, because he's a little hoo-hoo. So when there's a documented history of how off this guy is, oh boy. We're dealing with somebody who very clearly was not mentally fit to be on the job. Look, if you ask me, you know how many mental health hospital visits and breakdowns, you can have if you're in a very important job like a police officer? A grand total of 0. I want 0 police officers to ever have a mental breakdown where they have to go to the hospital and where their guns are confiscated by their fellow officers. If that's ever happened to you as a human being, you cannot be an officer. Because how do I know that's not going to happen again? How do I know that's not going to happen again? You have a very important job. Your job is to keep order and peace and to serve the community. How can I be sure you're going to serve the community when you snapped on your own officers, on your own buddies? They took your guns from you. You were in a hospital for mental health issues. No, this is lunacy we're talking about here. So you know what this reminded me of? The Tamir Rice story. Remember Tamir Rice? Just a kid playing with a toy gun. The cop showed up and gunned him down immediately. Killed the kid within like 5 seconds of seeing him. Probably within like 2 seconds. Just got out of the car, boom, boom, done, dead. It was a child with a toy gun. Killed him. Come to find out, the officer who did it, off his fucking rocker. Off his rocker. Documented history of him losing his mind. Of his girlfriend broke up with him. He was crying while at the shooting range, holding a gun and swinging it around. Oh, she left me. I have a gun. No, I should totally be able to police people. No, you shouldn't. Okay. Any police department out there right now, I'm sure I don't have many people who listen to me that are part of different, police communities or whatever, but if you know somebody like this who's part of your department, act. Talk to your higher-ups. Come on, I'm sorry, man. I understand it's the person's living and it's their livelihood. But if they're on the verge of a mental breakdown or they're already having a mental breakdown, if they're in the middle of a mental breakdown, I can't have them out there on the street because then what happens is what happened to Tamir Rice and what happened, unfortunately, in this case, to Freddie Gray. So we have to stop with this nonsense, man. And we have to stop with this culture of letting cops stay on the job when they have serious issues that should prevent them from being on the job. Like the one area where you should totally be 100% ready if you're a police officer is in your mind. And what we're hearing in this case is nowhere near prepared and nowhere near ready for that this police officer was.